Camera open.
Thanks for playing this game with us. I think it's kind
Yes.
of fun.
This crowd is very, very interactive. I'm really happy. I would say data demand planner. There you go.
This is great.
So yeah,
Mhm.
logistics. That's very, very important part of supply chain. Warehouse logistics. Every country has that, and especially large countries like Nigeria. Absolutely, you rely on networks, transportation fleets, and warehouses network. Absolutely, manufacturing operations that includes not just oil refining but also downstream manufacturing. Right. Excellent.
This is great. Thanks. Some variety there. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's great. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So premium skills of 2026, right? I feel like everyone's waiting for this.
Yes.
What do I need to focus on? And I think, technical knowledge helps get you started, right? These are the skills that help you continue growing. So the supply chain changes constantly, right? That's a matter of fact. Employers are valuing the professionals out there who can stay calm, adapt, and really keep moving forward, and not just themselves, but the organization. So you don't have to know every answer, right, as problems come up, but you do need to know how to gather information, how to analyze it, and then, how to make thoughtful, data-driven decisions. In sustainability, our organizations today think beyond cost, right? Like I mentioned earlier, it's not just a buzzword, but organizations out there are also thinking about the environmental impact, waste reduction, and long-term responsibility. This is an important part of being an organization today, and a global one especially. We have risk management. The last several years have taught businesses that unexpected events happen, right? Nobody could have anticipated the pandemic shutting down the world the way that it did. And organizations now expect employees to think ahead and prepare for uncertainty. Digital transformation and automation, AI and automation are changing how we work in almost every capacity, but they don't replace professionals, right? They allow professionals to make better decisions faster. Global collaboration. Very few supply chains operate inside one country anymore, right? The ability to communicate across cultures and work with people around the world has become one of the most valued professional skills out there. So in fact, I feel like this webinar alone is a perfect example of global collaboration, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we got people from different countries, at least 5 different countries. That's so amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, a few years ago for me, I realized I wanted to continue growing professionally. And for me, I invested very heavily with time, money, and intention to taking courses that would help me grow my career. And, I think the important lesson here is that we need to continue learning, right? And that might be a certification. It could be a technical course. Maybe it's a new software platform that you're learning, or, focusing on developing stronger communication skills. I think over time, these very small investments in yourself will add up to some greater value.
They do.
Yeah. So, the big takeaway here is that professionals who continue learning will continue creating opportunities for themselves.
Exactly.
So, of course, knowing what skills to develop specifically is only part of the journey. The next question really is, what can get in the way, right? We all face these obstacles that can slow our growth if we're not intentional about our careers. So Aftab is going to share some of the most common career hazards and maybe how to avoid them.
Thank you, Jennifer. And before I go there, I will just add on to your comment about AI in digital transformation and automation. And I would encourage people to go view our webinar past 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago about AI and supply chain management. What you just mentioned, Jennifer, is so true, that AI is just another tool to help us do our jobs better. So the more we know about it, the more comfortable we are, and we can benefit from it. So let's move on to the hazards. Navigating common career hazards. Why would career have hazards? I'll drive to my job, the enough hazards on the road to be aware of. How about my career? Does that have hazards? Of course it has. That's the reason some people move faster than others, because sometimes a hazard can pull you back, can slow you down. So let's look at them. Excuse me. So if I wait until I'm fired or leave job or I'm unemployed for any reason, I mean, there are tons of reasons for me to lose job. Then I take out my old resume from the rack and brush it up, dust it off, and say, hey, let's see what's in there. That's too late, my friends. That's too late. And the skills, I now go to a job board or go to a job posting and say, hey, do I know these things? Maybe not, because I'm relying too much on my own, job. Never looked out, never learned what's going on in the industry, never talked to anybody, never attended an event, seminar, webinar, whatever, never read a book. My social media time was spent on fun things. That's it. So I'm in a wrong position. That's a very bad hazard. Nobody wants to be there. Nobody wants to be there. Trust me. So don't wait. Keep yourself updated. Normally, as a habit. Just take pride in yourself and be out in the front. Then ignoring technology. I mean, things change. And my company may still have the old legacy systems, but it doesn't hurt me if I just learn from my friends and at least are aware. You are running ECC 6 for some time, but now it's there S4 HANA. Hey, there's stuff there. Knowledge is available on your fingertips. So go get it, right? Just be aware. I missed this one. Maintaining poor pop-up came along. Can you read this for me, please? It's blocked from my pop-up. Maintaining poor, which habits? Jennifer? The second hazard. Can you please?
Maintaining poor. Sorry, I can't see it either.
Yeah, that's for everybody. Okay, sorry. I just, this pop-up block came up. Countdown timer. I don't want that. Anyway, okay. Escape, maybe. Okay. No. Yeah. Presentation still there. Mm-hmm. That can be a problem. I don't know why it's there. That's just no, it's gone.
There it is. Networking.
It's just waiting for some time. Maintaining poor networking habits. Networking is very important. Trust me, many jobs, promotions are gained through networking. That's how you know what's available. Somebody will tell you, in my department, there is a position open. It's not yet on the job board. They may not advertise it. They're just looking for somebody internally. How do you know that? Because you go to the cafeteria, sit with people, you have friends, just make connections. That's very, very important. Also, have a good feeling to be connected, to be, air your concerns, learn about other people. Networking is a very good habit. So relying on weak communication skills. Guys, trust me, we are technical people, supply chain management, mostly from technology, but also from other areas. So we invest heavily on learning tools and processes and methodologies, but communication. How do you present your idea in a convincing manner? That's very important to know. Then I just talked about technology. Let's move on to operating outdated industry knowledge. Your industry might have moved on. Your company may not have, for any reason. So your competitors are moving on. It's going to hurt and hit you sometimes. So your industry knowledge is very important. What's tracking, what's around the corner for the next thing happening? Maybe not in your area, maybe somewhere else, but you'll be ahead of the curve if you learn those things. And relying solely on tenure and experience, that's important. Very good weightage, but again, experience can be limited, and sometimes when things change rapidly, and you could find yourself on an island of experience with not a bridge to new technology and new knowledge. So again, to avoid that pitfall, the trap, go beyond your own job or your own company and keep learning. and don't rely too much on tenures. Companies have different reasons to switch people. So always be on the watch. Pack your own parachute. No, let anybody else pack your parachute. That's your parachute, your career, your skill, your resume, your credentials, right? And document achievements. We do so much, trust me. Every day we achieve something, big or small. Over the period of like 1 month, we have done 10 things that are new. Over 6 months, we have done 10 things. Where do we record them? I don't think we record them honestly and judicially. We should make a habit to create a Word document. At the end of each week, what did I achieve this week? Put it there. Just forget about it. Do every Friday, every Sunday when you get time. If you want, you can add that to your resume. I would recommend that you update your resume at least once 6 months, if not in 3 months. Because when you are looking for a new job, you take out your old resume. Now there's so much happened. Now it's hard to recall everything. Memory can only go that far, go into that much detail. If you had that log or list of achievements, it's easier to take it from there, summarize it, make good of it, and then put on resume. So that's very important. Those are the traps that don't fall into those traps, and keep yourself active and agile.